Are you aware that your government's funding cuts will result in the closure of those gene banks that have been identified as key components of the recovery for wild Atlantic salmon?
So yes, and what I can say is certainly we remain committed to protecting species, and at the same time we need to look at new opportunities, investments that align with sustainability.
New opportunities don't come often with a gene bank like that. There's literally barely 100 wild Atlantic salmon returning in the Bay of Fundy streams. These living gene banks are absolutely crucial to retaining those living genes so that the stocks can be restored, and yet your government's actions are going to result in the closures. How can you explain that and square that circle?
So certainly I won't speak to that specific, but I will say that
speak to that specific, because you should know. You're the minister who has the ultimate decision over this closing of this gene bank.
I am committed to working with all partners to protect Atlantic salmon stocks. I know it's incredibly important. That is a priority. And we will continue to look at ways that we can that we can focus on to ensure that we have strong returns. I realize that this is incredibly important work. It's work that we need to do, and I'm committed to it.
On the West Coast, we have recreational, commercial, indigenous harvesters that are basically saying that your government has failed for the last 10 years at restoring both fisheries and fishing opportunities. The infrastructure systems that provide for those fisheries are on their last breaths because of consistent closures by your government and further restrictions. More of those restrictions may be on the way and have been indicated by your department through the proposals for coastal protection. And the harvesters, the industry, and the entire sector that relies on the access to those recreational, commercial, and indigenous fisheries is at risk. How are you going to address that in your budget?
So what I can tell you specific to the West Coast, we've just finished a round of consultations, finished on January 23rd. We are now looking at that, and certainly no decision has been made. And once that decision is made, I will share it.